Welcome back, folks, to the random video blog where every single Friday I, Graham GSM Matthews, run down my rambling thoughts on the wrestling world, share a few stories, etc., etc. And as I film this here today, we are 48 hours out from Sunday's WWE Payback pay-per-view presented by the Raw brand. Payback has been a pretty damn good show in recent years since its inception in 2013. I've always thoroughly enjoyed the Payback pay-per-view. I'm sure Sunday will be no exception. We got Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe. We've got Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. The Hardys versus Cesaro and Sheamus. Bayley and Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title. You guys know the card, but it's pretty stacked from start to finish. So in preparation for the pay-per-view on Sunday, I thought it'd be only fitting to run down my top 5 matches in Payback pay-per-view history. Again, not that illustrious of a list. We're only going back to 2013 here, so this is only including the 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2016 installments over the past 4 years. Will there be any matches from Sunday's show, the upcoming installment that will be added to this list in time? I guess we will soon see. But in the meantime, coming in at number 5, and again, there is a distinct difference, as I've said time and time again, between best matches in Payback history and favorite Payback matches of all time. Obviously, one is objective, another one is subjective. This will be very subjective, so after you hear my list, I would love to hear your list in the comment section down below, Facebook, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, coming in at number 5 comes from the 2015 installment, a fatal 4-way match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. The defending champion Seth Rollins taking on Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Randy Orton. So this was the long-awaited Shield triple threat of sorts with one extra member. So we were kind of getting that Shield triple threat, but not really. So adding Orton in the mix didn't really give us that official Shield triple threat. And it was still too soon anyway, so I'm glad they didn't give it away so soon. But they did give us a tease of what it would be like to see that match down the line, i.e. at Battleground 2016, over a year later. But this was a great match. Rollins and Orton had been feuding since WrestleMania, even a little bit before that, but primarily since WrestleMania, where Seth Rollins won the WWE Championship, beat Orton at Extreme Rules in a steel cage match with a disputed finish. So Orton remained in the title hunt. You had Roman Reigns, fresh off his title victory, or just victory in general over the Big Show at Extreme Rules, and Dean Ambrose also emerging as a threat to the championship. So Ambrose was kind of shoehorned in the title picture at the last minute, but he was a great addition to this match. He would go on to feud with Rollins over the championship coming out of the pay-per-view. But again, a very fun fatal 4-way. I really, really enjoyed this. I thought the crowd was great. I think it was in Baltimore, Maryland. I had just gotten back from college, my sophomore year of college, and I just remember watching the show and really, really liking it. And this match was a primary reason why I enjoyed that show. I thought the main event was awesome. All 4 guys worked well together. And if you're not going to have a Shield triple threat, just a standard triple threat match, and you got to add someone else, who better than Randy Orton? Because up to this point, all 4 of these guys had history in the same matches at Extreme Rules. In 2013, it was Reigns and Rollins taking on Orton and Daniel Bryan for the tag team titles. In 2014, it was Shield versus Evolution, with Orton a part of the Evolution and the other 3 guys, the Shield, taking on Evolution. And in 2015, it was this match as the main event. So again, a great main event in the end. It was Seth Rollins pinning Dean Ambrose to retain his title and kind of furthering that feud heading into the summer. After that, we have from the 2013 show, Caitlyn versus AJ Lee for the WWE Divas Championship. Now, it's very rare I put like women's matches on these type of lists, but just because it's not a knock against the women, but just primarily because in pay-per-view history past, we just have not gotten great women's matches up until like a year ago on the main roster, up until like 2015, 2016, and especially now. But in 2013, I thought Caitlyn and AJ had one of the better women's feuds in many years. I mean, the matches weren't amazing. I thought this match in particular was great. Again, not because it was an in-ring classic from like an in-ring perspective, from an in-ring standpoint, but I thought the story they told here was phenomenal. This feud had dated back years. I mean, Caitlyn and AJ had history dating back to their NXT days in late 2010, so almost 3 years. And in that time, they've been best friends. AJ turned on Caitlyn. Caitlyn taunted AJ for being crazy. So their history had dated back a long, long time. Even when AJ was Raw GM, they would still kind of bicker back and forth backstage. And it finally came to a head on this show in Chicago. And the crowd was great. They got a few more minutes than they were supposed to. I think AJ told the story in her book, which we'll talk about next week here on the Random Video Blog, a review of the book. Cheap plug. She talked about how they were supposed to get a few less minutes on the show for their match, and they said, yeah, you think we can risk it, get a better match out of a couple minutes and kind of risk pissing them off? And they said, sure. Caitlyn said, sure, why not? And it worked out for the better. Again, it was a great match, one of the longest Divas Championship matches, I think, up to that point. And it turned into a great match. Like, AJ blew a kiss at Caitlyn, I think, at some point prior to the pay-per-view. Then Caitlyn went for it in return on this show. It backfired. AJ locked her in the Black Widow. AJ gets the tap-out victory and wins the Divas Championship. The 2013 show was really, really well-rounded, but this was one of the better bouts of the night, in my opinion, kicking off AJ Lee's record-setting reign as Divas Champion. So coming up next from the 2014 installment, mentioned it before, but the main event from the 2014 show, the Shield versus Evolution in a no-holds-barred elimination six-man tag team match. I fucking love this feud. This was also the last match of the Shield before they broke up the very next night on my birthday, sadly and unfortunately enough. But no, this match was awesome. Again, another pay-per-view, another installment of Payback I thoroughly enjoyed was the 2014 show. I thought everyone in this match shined here. I did enjoy the Extreme Rules match a bit more from the month prior, but this was still a really, really, really good match. They went all around the arena, made excellent use of that out of that no-holds-barred stipulation. And I honestly thought Evolution would steal the victory, but no, it was a clean sweep for the Shield. They took out every member of Evolution, and what worked out for the better, which I thought was really cool, was that each member, they all kind of focused in on one member. Like, I think it was Roman who took out, maybe it was Seth who took out Batista, Dean took out Orton, and then Rowan finally took out Triple H. Like, the way that worked out, I thought was really, really cool. And again, they just close out the Payback pay-per-view as the hottest thing going, and then they would break up the very next night. But still, it was a phenomenal match, a great feud, and an awesome culmination of what had been a great story throughout the spring of 2014. And an awesome main event for the show, too. I know the original main event, I think, was supposed to be Daniel Bryan versus Kane in the casket match of the World Championship, but of course, Daniel Bryan got hurt. He would have to sit on the sidelines, vacate the championship for the next several months. So they put this as the main event instead and worked out for the better. And I'm really glad we got the continuation of this feud and it wasn't a one-and-done type deal. I know it was supposed to. Batista said no. Like, he was supposed to face Daniel Bryan for the belt to Payback. Well, first of all, Bryan got hurt, so it didn't matter anyway. So I don't know what the fuck they would have done then. But I'm glad we got the continuation of the feud. They went full throttle with it. They didn't do a one-and-done type deal with the match at Extreme Rules. They continued the feud. They put the Shield over strong. And I thought it was the best possible use of all six guys. So, again, really, really enjoyed that match. Coming in at number 2 from 2013, again, from the inaugural installment of Payback, Chris Jericho versus CM Punk in Chicago. CM Punk had been gone from WWE TV since 8 days after WrestleMania 29. He said, I'm out of here. I got to take a break. He was fresh off losses to The Undertaker, to The Rock, to John Cena, and he said, I got to take some time off, both in real life and behind the scenes, and he came back just in time for the Payback pay-per-view. Now, CM Punk said in the Art of Wrestling podcast with Colt Cabana a number of years later, about a year and a half later, not a number of years, but like a year and a half later, in his whole shoot interview, he had said that he intended to take more time off. I thought he would take more time off until SummerSlam. They brought him back a bit early, but you can't really pass up the opportunity to come back in your hometown and face Chris Jericho, of all people. He didn't really care. I mean, they had already done the Jericho feud the year prior, but I thought it was cool with the roles reversed. I mean, Punk was the heel before he came back, but obviously he turned face the moment he stepped foot in Chicago, and he stayed a face until he left the WWE the following year. But still, he got that hero's welcome, that hero's homecoming from the Chicago crowd. They cheered Chris Jericho, too. They had an awesome fucking match. I enjoyed their series of matches in 2012, so knowing that, I really, really love this match, too. CM Punk showing zero signs of ring rust despite being out of the ring for over 2 months. I thought he looked fantastic here. Again, just a great back and forth match. Jericho had kind of lured Punk back to the WWE in the weeks preceding the pay-per-view, and the story with Paul Heyman, and Punk told Paul Heyman, I don't really need you anymore after this match, kind of triggering the Punk face turn the very next night. Again, great angle with Brock Lesnar. So really everything about this match intrigued me. I thought the in-ring action was awesome. Again, it's kind of the exact opposite of Caitlyn and AJ, where they didn't really have too much of a story going in despite their obvious history. But the match itself was fucking awesome. Really what should have been the main event over Cena and Ryback, the 3 Stages of Hell match, which wasn't terrible, but I thought this match was a lot better. And then we get to the number 1 selection on my list of favorite matches from WWE Payback's past. and it is from the 2016 show just last year, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I think you might have thought I was going to say AJ Styles and Roman Reigns, which was a great match. Don't get me wrong, they had a really, really good match last year. I just enjoyed the Extreme Rules match a lot more. I thought the overbooked finish of the main event for Payback, I thought was kind of, again, just that overbooked and just way just watered down and whatnot. But like I said, I love the Extreme Rules match the following month, or later on that month, whatever. So instead, my favorite match of all time from Payback's history up until this upcoming weekend anyway, is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Two guys that had been feuding for years, down from late 2014 throughout 2015. Kevin Owens putting Sami Zayn on the shelf. And then when Sami Zayn came up to the main roster in March of 2016, immediately setting his sights on Kevin Owens, they clashed in the ladder match at WrestleMania. And once Owens dropped the Intercontinental Championship, he set his sights back on Sami Zayn at this pay-per-view, one-on-one. And again, just an awesome match. And what I really loved about the match was that I know they could go out there and have just an absolutely exceptional match. But the thing about it was that their two prior encounters on NXT at Rival and Unstoppable, respectively, were good matches, but they just told better stories. They weren't the barn burner of a bout that we knew they could have. This was the match everyone had been hoping for, and I know it kind of gets overshadowed by their Battleground match, which was better. This was still an excellent match in its own right. Really, really enjoyed it. Just awesome back and forth action. In my opinion, the match of the night from Payback 2016 last year. And both guys came out of this looking great. In the end, Kevin Owens scoring the clean victory. The video package they used for this match, like the Fight Forever thing, kind of telling us the tale of their feud from the Rumble and from when Sami Zayn returned to the main roster that March. Just taking everything into account for one video package that was great. But again, like I said, Kevin Owens coming out on top in clean fashion. They would further the feud beyond that point, going into the Intercontinental Championship match at Extreme Rules and the Money in the Bank ladder match, and they faced off one more time at Battleground a couple of months later. Again, the feud, so much fun. Really, really enjoyed it. I'm sure we have not seen the last of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens going at it now that they're both on the SmackDown brand. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before we see them square off at some point for the WWE Championship. But that being said, guys, one more time, my list of my top 5 favorite WWE Payback matches in history. Coming in at number 5, Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose versus Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship from Payback 2015. Coming in at number 4, Caitlyn versus AJ from the 2013 show for the Divas Championship. Coming in at number 3, The Shield versus Evolution from 2014. Coming in at number 2, CM Punk and Chris Jericho from Payback 2013. And coming in at number 1, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens from Payback 2016. So that's my list, guys. Again, there's only been 4 installments, so it's really hard to make a really long list. I mean, I usually do top 5s anyway, but top 5 lists anyway, but I can't really make that comprehensive of a list. There really wasn't that much disputing my list, for me anyway, like personally, because there's only been 4 shows. So your list might be different again. So tweet me on the Twitter machine or at WrestleRain, or find me on Facebook at facebook.com/grim.jason.matthews. All in the description box down below, or drop a comment with your top 5 favorite, top 3, top 1 favorite match from WWE Payback's pay-per-views past. That's a tongue twister, the 3 Ps. And we'll find out Sunday. We will find out on Sunday whether any of these matches will be knocked off the list or potentially topped by any matches we will see in the upcoming installment of Payback 2017. So that being said, guys, like I said earlier, as I alluded to earlier on in the video, next week's video blog will be my full review, or just my 2 cents, whether it'll be a quick video, long video, we'll see, of AJ Lee's Crazy Is My Superpower, excuse me, fuck that one up. Crazy Is My Superpower book that was recently released. I'll talk about it next week right here on the Random Video Blog. So until then, guys, enjoy WWE Payback on Sunday. I'm Graham Jason Matthews, and I'll catch you guys down the road.